Test.
You see me? Or did you see the room yet?
Nope. I shall see the room. Hold on. Is the room on?
Yeah, I took the video as off. Test one,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep. And you can hear me through the room, not from back or nowhere.
Correct, through the room.
Cool.
Okay.
Camera. Let's do the camera for the just fun of it. Okay. So can you do? Hold on. I'm gonna go to website YouTube and see. Okay. Okay. Test. Okay. Mute myself.
Right then.
It's not sharing. I mean, we.
Oh, sorry. I have to. Okay, I'm out of the Zoom. Now I have YouTube. Whatever you do over here, 10 seconds later or 15 seconds. Okay, that's it. Cool.
Test 1 2 3, test 1 2 3.
After here.
Would be up here.
Really?
Yeah. Doesn't sound like there's any feedback.
Oh yeah, that's from YouTube. Okay, no,
Okay.
that's hold on. Yeah, I want to confirm here. Okay.
Test 1 2 3, test 1 2 3.
See, your YouTube was on. That's why I was like,
I know.
yeah,
Yeah.
but, yeah. Um,
I was convinced it wasn't that because I must have had it open multiple places.
yeah, that's from YouTube.
Kyle, testing 1, 2 with your speakers.
Okay, I hereby call to, oh, yeah, right, we're ready. I hereby call to order the December 4th, 2025 meeting of the Town of Frisco Planning Commission. Would Kim please call attendance?
Conley? Here. Day?
Here.
Forsyth?
Here.
Westmas?
Here.
Stabile?
Here.
Kane?
Here.
Withrow?
Here. Previous planning commission meeting minutes have been distributed. If planning commissioners have any comments or corrections, please voice them now.
So there's one thing that may not be mentioned specifically in the minutes. But the number of EV parking spaces is 6 and not 10. So I don't know how we want to handle that.
Yeah.
The EV parking spaces is 6, not 10.
With a modification that staff clarify the number of EV spaces.
So it was just something that was mentioned in the meeting, in the recording, the official recording. It's not actually stated in the minutes, but do we need to add that to the minutes?
Let the planning commission tell us, do you want it in there?
So what's the right number?
6.
And 10 was noted in the minutes?
I don't know if it's in the minutes, but in the recording and in some of the other documentation, I think.
But it's not in the minutes,
Right.
but you want it in the minutes.
I don't know if it needs to be in the minutes, but just wanted to call it out.
I'm happy to add it to the minutes, the correct number.
Minutes.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. Anybody opposed to that? Seeing none? Are the minutes approved of that change? All in favor? Great. All right, so this is a meeting of the Frisco Planning Commission. Now we are opening up to public comments. This is a meeting of the Frisco Planning Commission. Any public comments that anyone in the audience may wish to make on a subject not on this evening's agenda may be made now. Citizens making comments should state their name and address for the record, be topic specific, and limit comments to no longer than 3 minutes. If anybody in the audience wishes to make a comment, come up to the podium and state your name and make your comment.
Charles Watkins. I'm on the board of Towers, 980 Lake Point Drive. If you all are familiar with it, it's a 8-story building. And we have a number of corridors, 7 levels of corridors. And there's some special lighting situation there. And the purpose of my comment now is just to make sure that this gets read into the meeting notes so that it can be taken up by planning staff as they start to finalize the regulation. One of the issues we have is,
I'm sorry, is this about the lighting regulations that are on the agenda tonight?
yes,
Okay, so right now the comments are out on anything that's not on the agenda. But you want to comment on the agenda topic, right? So-
yeah, I just want to somehow,
So if you want to comment on the agenda topic that we're going to talk about in a minute, we'll just take your comment as we're talking about that.
oh.
So what they're asking is that you wait till they start discussing lighting and then they'll open up the public comment specifically on lighting. There.
Thank you. Sorry. Okay. Let's see. So now we're gonna open the official agenda items. So you guys know, this commission is appointed and serves as an advisory board to the town council. It has certain final authority on certain things. For each item on the agenda this evening, a staff report will be presented. After the staff report, the planning commissioners will ask questions of the staff. We will then allow the applicant, if they choose to make a presentation. And after that, the public may make comment on the application. So the first item on the agenda is planning file number UDC 25-0002, a public hearing to consider proposed amendments to chapter 180 of the Code of Ordinance of the Town of Frisco, Colorado, by amending section 180-6.16 outdoor lighting, section 180-6.19 signs, section 180.8 nonconformities, and section 180-9.3 definitions concerning outdoor lighting. And I will turn this over to Emma for the staff report.
Great, thank you, Lena. So tonight we're discussing proposed changes to the UDC regarding outdoor lighting, but spread across those 4 sections of the code. So tonight, the goal is for the planning commission to provide a recommendation to the town council on the proposed code changes. A first reading of before town council is scheduled for January 27th. So planning commission first reviewed this code language at a work session on June 19th. And then town council reviewed the same language at a work session on August 26th. So we've incorporated feedback from both of those meetings into this draft. The overall purpose of these changes is to meet the requirements to become a certified international dark sky community. And staff does plan to still submit an application for that certification in the spring. So we're on track to do that. As a reminder, these are the proposed modifications to the lighting code. I'll talk through what's changed since the last version that you saw on the next slide. But the big changes are a maximum correlated color temperature of 3000 Kelvin, which is that yellow color, curfew hours for public lighting, seasonal lighting, festoon lighting, outdoor recreation lighting, and illuminated signage. Right now, what's in the proposed code is that all properties are to comply with those curfew hours within 1 year of adopting the ordinance. Limits on total illumination allowed on a property, which would be measured in lumens. Clear requirements for motion sensor security lighting. Limits on luminance levels for signage illumination. Compliance for all fixtures within 10 years of adopting the ordinance. And then there's exemptions for historic, seasonal, festoon, and recreation lighting, as well as street lights. This chart summarizes the feedback that we received from Planning Commission and Council on the major topics that were discussed. The biggest piece of feedback from both bodies was to only do the minimum requirements for the dark sky certification. So to achieve that, the big one was removing anything about light trespass, but we also removed some other smaller requirements that were just unnecessary over the top. Those adjustments also eliminated some of the technical language that was in there, which is a side benefit. So there's no reference to lux, foot candles, and there's also not going to be a requirement for photometric plans if this is approved, because there's no property line or light trespass requirement anymore. So the changes since your last work session are removing that light trespass section and some of the jargon. There's updated figures. We clarified references for mixed use properties, added an illumination allowance for walkways and pedestrian areas for non-residential and mixed use properties. We removed some language that was above the minimum. So some examples of that was there was a lux maximum for common areas. There were some extra recommendations for flag illumination. So we took out those kind of things that were not necessary. We added a public lighting section, or really pulled some of the public lighting requirements into the general section to clarify that all public lighting except for street lights has to follow the general requirements. We removed the requirement for photometric plans, simplified the luminance measurements and fixture requirements for signage, and then added changes to the nonconformities section to align with what we're requiring, mostly that 10-year compliance period. And that has yet to be reviewed by the town attorney, so he may make some tweaks to how we're wording that for the compliance period. These are the recommended findings that were listed in your staff report. And this is a recommended motion should you choose to recommend approval to the town council. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
April, any questions of the staff?
Does the removal of the trespass kind of ordinance reduce the need to cite people for breaking the ordinances? I know we had a long discussion last time around like who's going to cite people and how's that going to be, taken care of, and is the police department going to be responsible for that, and do they have enough people? And so
Reduce it greatly a lot of the complaints that we'll receive. I wouldn't say it would take it away completely, because there could still in 11 years be lights that go up in violation, and then we.
But I do think the light trespass, the only way to measure that one would have been to go out at night and have someone stand there with a meter. And with these requirements, you could also show you're meeting them through the specs of the fixtures if you have that information, or sometimes there's like labels on the fixtures. So there could be other ways to show your, like if someone complained, someone wouldn't necessarily have to go out at night with a meter. So I do think it'll make compliance easier.
Carol, any questions with the staff?
Sure, so there's a 10-year compliance timeframe. And we're heading to try to be certified dark sky.
Yes.
So can that certification happen within the 10 years, even though some people are non-compliant?
Yeah, so the certification is really more about showing the community's commitment to this effort. So you don't have to have all compliant fixtures to get certified. You get the certification, and for the organization, that's when your 10-year clock starts, is from certification. So we'll have to submit an annual report to them with how things are going. And
Is there any dark sky police that comes out and says that you guys didn't cheat?
I thought that was you.
I cheat, I'll admit it, I'm a cheater.
Just
The green lights are off, up at March 2nd.
Rude.
Okay,
Yeah, we're our own police, I guess.
very good.
Can you go back to the table? Ours and
So the curfew, I know we talked about that a lot, but council wanted it a little bit longer. Do you remember the rationale for that?
Yeah, they were okay with what was in, because we had 10 to 7 in the proposed language, and they were okay with it. They did talk about it a bit. I could pull up my notes of what they said, but I don't quite remember, but they were okay with it. Yeah,
thought
and
we
then we
said-
also looked at the noise ordinance, and that time period also aligns with the noise regulations, so we felt like that was maybe good to stick with that as well.
I thought we said the 10 to 7 was a little strict. Cause for all the people walking around late at night, but I guess the council didn't agree with us.
Correct.
Correct.
Oh, no.
Clark.
Another good habits of not
So.
And then 6 a.m. was dark a lot of the time.
And streetlights, like that curfew only applies to those types of lighting, seasonal lights, festoon lights, recreation lights. It doesn't apply to porch porch lights, street lights, those can still be on. Car lights. No curfew on car lights. That's all.
No. Andy, questions of the staff?
Yeah, the photometric report that we've been requiring forever, we're not going to require that anymore. So this actually reduces our requirements for lighting submittal.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
Unless you want to see what the light
But
levels are at the property line. I guess that was the purpose
There
of
is
it.
something in there about you have to, because it's lumens per acre
Mhm.
now, and so their lighting report will still have, your submission would still have to show the location of all your light fixtures and then have calculations for lumens per acre. So that's basically taking place of the photometric report.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll still need a site plan, and it'll just be more math with the lumens, but no photometric plan.
I did have a question about how I wasn't clear on how, when you say it further into the text, I don't know if we're going to get deep into the rest of this later on, but it talks about lumens per acre, and it talks about lumens per net acre, and unlit parts of your site don't count. How do you determine which parts of your site are lit? If you've got a residential project and you're putting on some wall sconce lights on the outside, what counts as lit? I don't think it's clear in there about how you would do that calculation for the net acres of lit site.
Yeah. I think we can be more clear about it if you want. I think I was looking at one the other day where part of the site is like a creek. And so
Sure,
that's like
like
clearly
intuitively,
the
I can
outlet.
understand it, but
Yeah.
if I'm actually trying to draw a polyline around the lit part of the site, like how do I know where to draw that? How do I know how to calculate that acreage? I couldn't figure that out from the code text that comes later, so I don't know if we need to be more clear about that, but that was, as somebody that's gonna have to calculate that, I went, how am I gonna calculate that?
And these are the questions, these are the things that are really good to hear tonight before
Yeah.
we adopt it
Yeah.
and then hear it, so.
Yeah, this is the time.
I think maybe some clarity on that would be helpful. That's all I got.
Yeah. Sorry, can I ask the question back? Have you by chance seen any communities that have it clarified that makes sense? I
No,
know.
I haven't seen anybody try to do
Yeah.
that. I've seen lighting per acre, but I haven't seen anybody try to discount the unlit portions of a site. And so that's a tricky one because obviously, hopefully, most of the site is unlit. And does the building footprint count? Like so inside space count? Or are we talking about a strip around the building that's sort of lit? Like, I think I'd be happy to talk to you guys about it outside of this meeting if we want to look at how that might be worded as you start to try to clarify that. But I think if you want to differentiate between lit and unlit portions of the site, we need a little bit better language in there.
Okay. And we could just make it per acre, not per net acre.
That would be a lot easier to calculate and to administer, because otherwise it's going to be this kind of hazy line of what's lit and not lit portions of the site. But I get what you're saying. If you've got a creek running through, or if you've got we don't have a lot of 20-acre sites in the town limits, so we're not really talking about that. But that would be an easier way to go. But if you want to try and differentiate, a little more clarity in there. So.
That's a good point. Jess, any questions of the staff?
Yeah, looking at this table, which is great, thank you, at the lights at Fourth and Main, so we said keep, town council said keep it at the shields. And then just explain like how we're dealing with them in the final code language.
Yeah, so I think all we added from the last time was the height appropriate for vehicles went over a public right of way, because council did mention that they want to make sure the festoon lights are allowed to be high enough over that intersection, because there was a 12-foot maximum.
Okay.
So that's all we added, but it's still, they're allowed over pedestrian walkways. So they're allowed over
What about the cross?
I think the cross may come.
Cross may come down.
And then are they gonna shield them?
Yeah, and then that was just council's recommendations that we put shields to show our commitment.
They actually crisscross. They go.
Okay, so they'll be shielded, will that be the code that we're gonna shield them?
No, that will not be in the code because it's not gonna be a requirement for everyone. We're just gonna do it.
Wait, we don't want the cross to come down.
Can we make the crosswalk? Remember those crosswalks that go across the way?
A lot of people.
Do it anyway. Are we adding a crosswalk in this code amendment? It's a part of the lighting.
We don't want to draft a code that's gonna make that cross come down.
It sounds like we do, sounds like town council does.
Well, we don't.
Well, you can put that in your recommendation also when you get to that, if you keep track of it right now.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead, more
Yeah.
questions.
So I do have this photo of a light. And I just want to make sure, sorry, I don't know, like, just hanging it my phone. So this like, the light, you can grab it if you want.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, great.
Unless, does
You got it.
everyone want to see those?
Anyways, yeah, so you can pass around. So the fixture, the light is up here in the fixture, so it's fully shielded and it's downlit. But then there's frosted glass that's placed below it, so then that glass emits the light out. So how would that light be handled with these new regulations?
That would be allowed. And we asked that question to the council of whether they would want to do something about, you're calling them frosted glass diffusers,
Okay, that's what this is
for lack of a better term, but, and they said, we don't wanna bother with that, cause it's above the minimum
Well,
requirement.
go to your page that shows like, and it's one of your, in this packet. Materials. And so it's in this,
This is where I said not acceptable, not acceptable, acceptable.
yeah, this would be, in my opinion, so I'm looking at like 13 of 61 of the packet. I can also show you which one I'm looking at, so that's helpful. But it's this one, right? To me, that light is this.
No, cause that's showing, well, it's supposed to be showing the bulb coming out.
But
from
that frosted
under.
glass, in my opinion, is acting as like the portion that's emitting light. I feel strongly on this one. I don't know if I can convince my other planning commissioners on this one, but I feel really strongly. So,
Third one?
yeah, so in my opinion, that's this one here.
And you think that one is acceptable? Is that what you're saying?
I think it's unacceptable, and this dark sky material also calls it unacceptable.
Right.
However, the town code as it's currently written would allow this. So just to explain again, so you have your fixture in here, the metal part, and it has the light, which is up here. And so if there was no frosted glass, it would be perfectly compliant. It would be this option here.
But now you have.
But now you're adding this frosted glass, so you're turning, by a technicality, you're turning it into this.
What is it about the frosted glass? that-
It pulls the light out.
It basically becomes a surrogate
It's-
light bulb.
Yeah, it becomes the light source. The frosted glass now is kind of acting as the light source, and it's pulling the light out.
So you think without the frosted glass?
It's this. With the frosted glass, it's this.
And this is dark sky, not Town of Briscoe.
This is in the materials. This is Dark Sky International's materials. It's their
But-
communication materials. Correct. So this is how they're trying to communicate very simply to the public and to elected officials and the planning commissioners and town staff on like how things should or shouldn't work and be compliant. So to me, you have a code that would allow this, and that's not the goal.
Because the code says what? That-
The light source has to be shielded. So if the bulb is up in that shield,
You're good.
you're good. And that's by dark sky too. The bulb is up in the shield. But because it comes out and then hits the frosted glass, this is how a lot of light manufacturers are getting around dark sky compliance.
Oh.
They're creating dark sky compliant fixtures that do that. So it's still dark sky rated because the light source is up in the shield. But this is sort of a trick to get around it.
So how do you change the code language?
You just write something in that this frosted glass is not allowed. To me, it's like you don't even have to change. It's maybe an interpretation of the code, it's a clarification in there. But this bulb is now emitting light horizontally, and I think the code says you can't emit light horizontally. So it would either be an interpretation, a clarification, but I think we should know what we're doing now. To me, it's you're taking that light horizontally. And I'll
But
like,
you
I personally say I really like the night sky, like walk around. I'll walk around at night when it's a clear night, and you hit fixtures like this and it changes your view of the sky. It really does.
Would you know what to write into the code to address the situation? Because I have never thought about that before. It's never occurred to me that that was the situation.
We didn't dive into it because they said, don't worry about it, but off my head, maybe we would say that the frosted glass, define the frosted glass as part of the light source. or something.
frosted glass or just any glass?
Well, it's the fact that it's below the shield and the frosted glass is solid and it picks up and transmit. That's what's happening, is you're now transmitting light below the shield.
Yeah, and you could, I'm sure you could find a way, like if you dig into this, like we're putting you on the spot right now to do it. But yeah.
But does this like take the minutia like on a light source so far that when we're not even addressing trespassing, when you see some of these like modern designs, you're like, the light source isn't emitting it, but the whole window is in the trespassing.
Yeah, but I think we made the decision, like as a community, that we're not gonna regulate interior lighting, so we're left with regulating exterior lighting.
You wanna table that discussion to your discussion?
I think it's a tricky one.
Oh,
This-
you're saying
this-
table it. I see what you're saying. She's saying this is time for questions. This is question time.
Yes, sorry, yes. We're out of order.
You want to keep going to questions and then come back and then you can have this discussion more in depth along with any other ones.
Yeah, maybe we can take a look at wherever that is in the code language and provide attention. But is that okay? Do you have any other questions? Any other questions? Kelsey?
Yeah, my
Any
only
questions?
question is, do we need these codes changes to be implemented to apply for the certification?
Yes, yeah, you have to have passed a compliant policy.
And how often can you apply? Like, is it like once a year they open up the application process or anytime? Like, why are we targeting this just so it all lines up and we can make these amendments?
You can apply anytime, and then I think the board meets quarterly or something like that. to
Okay.
Consider applications, yeah.
That was my only question. Thank you.
Okay. Do you mind if we go back to that table summary thing that you prepared, which is super helpful? I guess I had. Was it here? I guess my one question, shoot, it wasn't here. Can we go through some of your other slides? I can't remember where I saw it. Is that it?
That one?
No. I guess one of my questions is, I know that this is what the dark sky people say, but why, the 10 years seems like a long time to me to be giving to it. Why? Seems
It is a long time. I think we figured give people as long as we can to
okay.
do it, but yeah.
I feel like we should be better, but okay. The exemptions for historic, seasonal, festoon, and recreational lighting, does that mean they're completely exempt? They don't have to? But what is
No.
the exemption?
There's like different requirements for each of them
Okay.
in the exemption section. They're just exempt from something in the general requirements. Yeah.
I didn't
So,
think
like,
too far.
Shielding. So for festoon and seasonal lights, like they don't have to be shielded, for
Okay.
example.
And then, okay, can we go back to the table?
Mhm.
What can we do to, and I'm putting you on the spot, but it just, I really don't want to lose the cross on the intersection of Fourth and Main. So maybe that just goes to our discussion, but if there's anything about the height of light fixtures, is that what it is?
No, I think it's that it's not a pedestrian walkway.
Oh, okay.
So you could propose to add
Got it.
something.
Okay. And then the other thing is I guess it's not a question, but I do think it's weird that we're removing the photometric plan requirement.
I have one.
Oh yeah, Andy, go ahead.
Follow up on this new page that we'll be preparing for lumens per acre, however that ends up shaking out. The next project I draw where they actually use the light fixture that I specified will be the first one. It never happens.
Yeah.
So how does that work in the process now for we get approval, the project's approved with this light fixture that the architect specifies, and then the builder finds a deal on a different light fixture and changes all the exterior light fixtures. How would that work? Because I would hate for that to trigger it having to come all the way back to planning commission. Is there a mechanism in there where you guys could administratively approve that change based on, yes, this looks like a light fixture that we still feel like the planning commission would approve? Yeah.
If you're okay with staff.
I think I would hate to see that little thing trigger a whole new extra planning commission review process.
Yeah, I will say, I think we're hoping to do some clarifying soon about what modifications should come back to planning commission
Okay.
and what.
It's in our quarter 1 code amendments coming.
Let's keep that one in there, because again, I've never seen anybody use the light fixture as specified.
And we did, just to refresh you, we had asked once a while back if we could remove even bringing it to planning commission, but we received feedback. The planning commission does want to see everything, even though it's recognized we never see the same thing when we get to a CO.
Yeah.
And usually we don't see it until we go out to do a CO, and then we're like, you have different light fixtures.
Right.
And at that time, you really can't. It would be very unfriendly of us to bring somebody back to planning commission and
Agreed.
schedule a public hearing when someone's looking for a CO.
Yeah.
So.
Let's just make sure that can be an administrative modification if you're updating that. In my opinion.
I agree.
Me too.
Can I ask one more question? Go ahead. We haven't really talked about signs very much, and I'm trying to picture where we have these. I mean, I can picture like the business signs that are lit up, but do we have any signs that are like internally lit that this affects?
All of some of Oval.
Yeah.
Aren't they all lit up?
You picture the Walmart sign, for example.
So are they changing? Will they have to change their sign based on this?
I'm
In
not
the
sure
next
how
section.
bright theirs is now, if I'm honest.
No matter what, it would have to go in the dimmers. Correct.
And doesn't have to shut off an hour after it closes.
Yeah, that's the main one, is it'll have to turn off.
Like Target does that, like that was a part of their approval, I think, in Silverthorne, that they turn their lights off
Yeah, I think so.
at night.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but they're not following these times. This is just for festive stuff. They're just following the regular code.
Yeah, so it would be this or business hours. If they are open past 10, they can keep it open until half an hour after business hours.
Okay. But we're not technically we're saying you have to keep it under a certain lumens, but they don't have to change it for 10 years. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And just to clarify, even now when we're getting light signs or lighting, staff is telling applicants what might be coming, trying to encourage people to just comply now and save money later.
Just make one comment. The signs that I've been getting recently, I've actually been looking at the lumens with Emma, and they are currently coming in below what's going to be in the code, so.
Do you do that at night?
No, it's just in the specs.
Oh.
Okay. Cool. Any other questions with staff? Okay, I think we'll turn it over to public comment. I see some people in the audience. Come on up. Sorry, come on up. Come on up to the podium. You're
so patient.
Give us your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Charles Watkins, I'm on the board at Towers, 980 Lake Point Drive. And we're very proactive. In fact, we've been talking about improving our lighting there even before Frisco got going on this. We have 4 different types of lighting. We have 10 poles that are already downlit. They're too tall. We'll have to shorten them. We have about 20 fixtures along our exterior garages that are low, and we've already mocked up and installed a couple of shields that will provide for the downlighting. That's not a problem. The 2 other types are a problem, and what I'm trying to drive for is some flexibility in your regulations so that you can entertain different designs to achieve the intent of the Dark Skies Initiative and not necessarily the specifics. We have about 75 lighting fixtures. I don't know whether you're familiar with the towers, but it's 8 stories tall. There are 7 stories of corridors and about 75 lights. The lights are providing light on those exterior corridors that are visible from the street, and they're very bright for the neighborhood. And so we've experimented with the lighting fixtures have a screw-on, I don't know what you call it. It's a globe, horizontal globe. And we've experimented with various designs of putting aluminum inside and then covering the bottom except for a small little aperture. The problem is whatever you do, it's horrible from the street. If we're down to providing the 1-foot candle that we need for that kind of lighting, it's still horrible. And so we've now worked with putting a complete wrap, complete seal on the bottom, complete wrap around the side, but an aperture to the back. You got a little bit of bounce lighting off the building. And when we really dial it down, we get complaints there's just simply not enough light to provide for people to get their keys in. We would go as far as we can, but that's clearly different than the design that you're requiring, which is a shield that comes down to the horizontal. So providing for some flexibility, I think the only way to do that is to do some kind of an aperture to the back and try and go as far as we can within our required code lighting for corridors. But, you know, you'll need language in your regulation in order to support that. The second one is even a bigger problem. If you come over and look at towers, we have exterior stairways that are fire escape stairways, and they have a 10 foot candle requirement, and they are absolutely horrendous. They're fluorescent fixtures that go across like this. They look like hell from the bottom. We may be able to dial down the intensity, but it's still going to look like hell. And I think just from an engineering perspective, actually, the best solution on that might be a upward facing shield, okay, that would then allow you to bounce light off the ceiling of that area and provide a much softer lighting and achieve, I think, a lot of what Dark Sky is trying to achieve, even though it's clearly not going to meet the requirement of the regulation. But if we were to just make it downlit, it's still going to look like hell in the neighborhood because the building's so tall. So what I wanted to do here is just, get it in your record so that you can be thinking about this, to try and put some general language in there that lets you work, with the approval of staff, alternative designs to practically solve problems. And Emma would love to have you come out at some point, take a look at this, just so you can get a feeling for it and sort of bring the, the real feel of what the issues are. So,
Thank you.
all right.
I thank you for giving us your comments, and I appreciate it, but I will tell you, like, council is the final decision maker. So don't be shy and attend their meetings and let them know your comments there too, because they will be making final decisions on the ordinances. Okay?
That's true, but they're making decisions based on your recommendations with
That's
more
true.
granular understanding of the issues afoot. So that's what I'm trying to.
Just letting you know. Thank you, though.
Question on this cover?
Sure.
Would the stairwell be an exemption for safety?
There are exemptions for emergency lighting, and emergency exit lighting, so I think that would.
Cause it feels like you can't just be like, we have a dark sky, we're not gonna light our stairwells that are fire safety, like, so. I mean, I love that there's, you've come up with options. I'm just wondering if that would fall under like a safety.
And I think part of this concern, when we discussed earlier, is actually trying to make it minimal.
Better. I know
Better,
it sounds
yeah.
like he's trying to make it better, but I'm just saying,
So
like,
yeah, he
maybe
could,
the
but do we
upward
want
field
much?
would be
Okay.
the better and an exemption kind of thing.
Point.
I wouldn't want to fall on an exception to just say, well, great, we don't have to do anything. We really are trying to achieve the spirit and the intent of Dark Skies for, for us but for the neighborhood at large. And so to be able to do something modified that would meet that and practically solve the issue would be a great thing.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience want to come up and give us your comments?
Hi, I'm Janine Corvetto, and I'm a Frisco resident, and I'm the Dark Sky resident in Frisco, and started out working out with your staff. And I wanted to first express my gratitude for I wish I could say it took me a long time to convince people to do this, and it was one of the easiest sell jobs I've done, actually, which I've had a lot of hard jobs, but this has been great. So thank you so much. I just want to, again, thank everyone for taking this into consideration, and remember why we're doing this. We want to preserve our night skies. We want to preserve the migration of the birds, and they are affected directly by the light that, we're reflecting up into the sky. So, and I just wanted to comment on two comments that you made where, Jessica, I agree with you. And if you can try to do something with those fixtures that are basically, I don't think they're conforming. And if you walk down the street, you can see that the light is hitting you in the face. So the whole purpose is to have downward facing lighting. So I hope you can find a way around that. And then Lena, you know, I guess my question is great. There's a curfew, 10 o'clock, a lot of lights are going out, but that's not applying to my neighbor. I mean, it's decorative lighting and this and that, but if you have neighbors that have their lights on and it's in your bedroom window and it's not downward facing and they have 10 years to conform, I ask, are we really doing what we need to be doing? And so, you know, I understand the grace period, but is there a mechanism? So if I have someone across the street and for instance, I have a light that someone is telling me now my neighbor has, that is just a standing pole that is in their, across the street in their bedroom window. And so based on this, they don't have to conform for 10 years. So what is it that we can do? Is there like a complaint line? So if there's a complaint, then someone has to take action. Can that happen? So I just don't see how we're moving quickly if we're allowing residents, residential properties to have porch lights that are really non-conforming and never were conforming. And even when they were constructed, I don't think they were. So anyway, that's one of the concerns I have. And again, I want to thank you very much for doing this. And I think, you know, from 10 years from now, our next generation, hopefully will see the impact. And I hope we should ask the question, is this going to change things or are we going still the wrong way? And that, you know, I don't have those numbers. I think we talked with our mentor a little bit and we weren't sure that even with all this, that the dark skies are going to get darker. And so I think that's some of the questions we need to ask as well. So thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Janine, will you mind signing in if you haven't already?
Oh, yeah. I wasn't going to speak. Inspired.
Hi, I'm Brian Pence and I live just over here in Frisco. And I've been trying to be involved a little bit with the dark sky stuff, but I've been out of town most of the whole summer. So I'm back in town and I just got the email that this was happening tonight. So I'm not too prepared, but I really like some of the thoughts that, forget your name, be brought up about neighbors and people with big picture windows, no curtains, and their lights are on till midnight or whatever, and it lights up like the whole, a lot of light pollution coming out of their homes. And even though it's not an exterior light, it's, I don't know what we can do about people inside their homes, mandatory curtain cops or whatever. That's not too practical, I don't think, but I really appreciate what the committees are doing and all the hard work everybody's putting in. And I have a friend that works at Ace Hardware in Silverthorne, and he told me there's a lot of people coming in trying to get light compliant fixtures. And I was like, good to hear it. You know, I'm really glad to hear that. And one thing I do have is, with such short notice, is like for public service, I think they run all our street lights. Is that correct? They're in charge of those. And I was wondering, you know, it'd be good. One of my problems is the street lights. And if they could be put on like some kind of motion detector sensor, so they're not running 24 hours a day at 3 o'clock in the morning. There's hardly anybody walking around town. It seems like, I don't know if we can work with Xcel Energy on that, but it'd be nice to have streetlights just, there's nobody around for 6 blocks in any direction. Hey, just shut off. You know, it's in my neighborhood, when the street light burns out, I love it. And then when they fix it, I get mad. And but that was just one of the things. Then like Main Street, there's a lot of light pollution coming off of Main Street, and I don't know if we can tone that down a little bit. I know businesses want to keep their, you know, advertise and safety reasons, burglars or, you know, break-ins and that kind of stuff. But if Main Street could tone it down even 20%, I think it'd make a huge difference in town. And I think I brought it up before, but like the 4-way intersection downtown, you know, we have all these like hundreds of these little white light bulbs that go around in the square around the, those don't need to be on all night long. And I would say like at 10 o'clock at night, maybe we could make downtown kind of you know, ratchet it down a little bit. Those lights look really pretty and stuff, but I don't feel they're doing any justice at 3 o'clock in the morning being on like that. And a lot of stargazing goes on at middle of the night and but anyway, I didn't have much time to prepare for this. I just got the email and once again, I really appreciate the town's commitment and trying to do something that's fantastic. I just think it's a great deal. And but if we could talk to Xcel Energy about these streetlights, maybe on motion detectors, I don't know if that's a possibility or not, but thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Finally, please sign in.
Is there anybody there's nobody else here in the chambers. Is there anybody online that wants to provide a public comment? Raise your hand. I see none. All right, so now we turn it to commissioner comments and deliberation. I am here for 13 more minutes. I mean, I guess I do want to see if there's a way to address your comment with the code language.
I think if we're gonna do it, you can't have these gray loopholes like you're saying, like just
Yeah.
say no glass, no frosted glass that creates. I mean, you're very skeptical and I'm very surprised to hear that like manufacturers are trying to skirt dark sky. To me, that sounds.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I'm not against it. I just think that it's going to be difficult to find the language a little bit that allows some fixtures, because that one's really obvious, but probably there are a lot that wouldn't be as obvious to us. Like,
Yeah.
well, is that crossing the line or is that not crossing the line? If there's just a decorative bit of glass, but it's not frosted and throws way less light than that one, then it would be less obvious. So I think it'd be interesting to see how the code language would be written when the light source is meeting the letter of the code.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see, and I'm happy to review it and see what you guys come up with. But
Kind of like measurement, like you can take a light fixture and turn it on and be like, nope, that one doesn't apply. I mean, this seems so like benign to me, but like, we're like, yeah, the angle is too, horizontal there. It doesn't pass. Like, is there that kind of measurement, like that cuts out this gray area? That if you like put the fixture on a wall and walked up to it, and if it's more than a certain angle in terms of what it reflects on the wall.
Yeah.
I'm asking if this even
Yeah.
exists.
I think it would be adding language that states, I Googled some ideas, so that's what I'm staring at my computer.
Can I see
That
your picture?
luminaires housing
I
it
have a
shall extend below the
Cause see,
entire
like,
light source,
this hits
things
the
like that.
wall like
Yeah.
correct, like
Yeah.
I'm like, is there some kind of language where it could be like the angle of the light reflection has to be at this angle? Versus like running straight out. Like if you put it on a wall and you turned it on, how does it reflect the light? And if it's like this, it doesn't apply. Where it's very clearly like that. And if the angle was like that, it's clearly downcasted.
yeah,
Regardless of glass or not.
Yeah, I think.
And going based on the cast shadow, based on things, and then like, if it does have the globe but doesn't cast that shadow, then it would be something that.
yeah.
I mean, you could even, the light is
lines,
still
I mean,
going kind of down.
Right, like if it,
Out.
right, but.
Like if you look on the back
Agrees.
wall, where it's not then impacted by the curve or the corners.
So I guess you want like a beam angle that's like this, not like this.
Yeah. Cause I think that if you're trying to skirt it and say the light bulb's in there and then we do the frosted glass, if it then casts still a light that goes like this,
Because like.
it'd be fine. But if it casts the light that goes straight, then it's clear measurement that it's not downcasting, regardless of having the frosted glass or not.
Cause I think that is the definition, is that there's a horizontal plane
Right.
and the light source is above it, so the light can still go like
If
this.
the frosted glass weren't there, the light pattern on the wall would be the same.
It would?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just
Yeah,
asking
because
out of
it is
curiosity. I
actually
don't know
coming
if this
out.
is.
Below 90 degrees, right? like that, you can see the shadow line very clearly. That's what we talked about. There's code language about 85 degrees from vertical has to be the shadow line. That's what's being depicted in that photo.
It's just that this has become the lamp.
The lamp has, but the light source is up there. So again, I totally get what you're saying about that one, but it's really, I think would be tricky to write the language that would, because if you took that away, if you took the frosted glass away,
It's
the
still
light
big.
pattern wouldn't be any different.
Got it. The light pattern is still going out, right? Like it is just going out.
But in this one.
Because that's now the bulb and it's like
Right.
having like an uncovered bulb.
So, yeah,
So do
it's,
you minimize like materials that refract the light similar to a bulb below the shelter?
Well, I guess maybe broader question, not parsing out the language, like how do we all feel about this? Are we pro-regulating something like this? Or do we not want to? Because I mean, again, like I'd make this argument, right? Like Ira.
Yeah, I agree that I think that the globe, once pointed out, is trying to circumvent the purpose. So paint, or if that globe was painted black below the shield, it would work.
But the globe
not
is the,
fully
is
shielded.
the,
It's
It is-
like has the outcome of not being fully shielded.
right.
And our lighting regulations say fully shielded and downlit. So now this is it's just not fully shielded. To me, it's just like, I don't know the language of what to do. To me, I just feels like this is a complete circumvention of what we're trying to do.
okay, but hang on, but that isn't the same as this.
It's not the exact same, but it has the effect of being very similar. Like that picture is showing the actual bulb, and this is showing glass that is now functioning as the bulb.
So the glass then, in some sense, becomes the light source.
Yes.
So in the dark sky, you don't want to be able to see
Yeah.
the light source.
Yeah.
And that's why,
Because the
I-
bulb is
It's
in
not
the shade.
right,
This is not the light pattern. The light pattern is now this.
Right.
Because that's the light.
You know, it's sort of like saying a light bulb is this thing with a little incandescent bit in the middle of it, right? But the bulb is
Ah. Yeah,
is the
exactly.
bulb, right?
You're
It's
right.
not the little
yeah.
incandescent
Exactly.
light.
So with the
up in the
picture, you
middle.
don't want to see the lights.
Or the glass that is
So
become
maybe
the light
that
source
is just
before,
an
right?
interpretation. You've turned
And I-
this into the light source. But I don't know how you word it.
Glass and frosted fixtures.
You're mostly, well,
His example, like his analogy to the light bulb is really good, right? Like you have your filament. And that's your light source, but now you have the glass. And that's what we think of as a light source, and that's exactly what this has become. This is now your bulb.
Do we know how Breck dealt with this? Because they've passed their dark sky certification.
That's a legal fixture in record.
Legal?
How prevalent, like, is that better than what we have or?
You're gonna be seeing a lot more of these because of dark sky. The lighting manufacturers are making more varieties of this sort of fixture. The light source is shielded,
It's just total.
but then there's something that broadcasts it artificially.
but we also said we were gonna do minimum standards. Like if we go to maximum standards, I think that's when we get into this minutia.
To me, this is actually,
Minimum standards.
this is the minimum standard. There is just a nuance here that is a circumvention of what the minimum standard is, because we're now allowing this.
I do feel like we should
Or sorry, this one.
have the foresight to not allow, like that scapegoat on all of this to be like, and this would mean that scapegoat to say frosted glasses that or globe that essentially then turns into the light source versus the fixture. Because it's like building something we need now and not finding the way to get to what we need in 10 years, so it's like probably do it right and say.
Yeah.
That doesn't meet the requirement of.
So I think the onus is either in code language or on staff to interpret, right?
I think we should put something clear.
We need to, because
Sanitation.
I would do a picture. Honestly, I would do a picture in there. You would like have like a purpose and intent, and you would say what it is. Light shall not be emitted outward. In no cases shall like frosted glass, like turn into the light source, and then you just show a picture in your code. I mean,
Yes,
wordsmith that language, but have a picture.
I'm wondering like how frosted does the glass need to be for it to be?
Well,
It's like an
it will still
awning.
transmit the light, so frosting will just exaggerate that light and it disperse it, it'll still be there. But could we move the onus to manufacturers and let manufacturers distribute light fixtures that are then certified dark sky? Because I think the one where the globe's below would never pass.
That's a dark sky light fixture.
It's a certified dark.
It's marketed. I don't know who's certifying.
Well-
But they call it that.
Yeah.
They'll market it as that.
Well, if we get what we want, we put it back on a developer and a manufacturer and say, these are your requirements, find a way to make it work.
Light fixture.
Just like any code.
Also are dark sky compliant and truly are.
It's really not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if that part of that certification of a light fixture that you buy off the shelf, that you can depend on that certification. I mean, and then if they bring the certification to the building department, go, look, this is a certified fixture.
I think they're just marketing it that way. Like, I don't know if they're like going to some international dark sky board to get that certification in their light fixture.
They do
That's
certify
buzzword.
fixtures, but these would, like the one you have a picture of would be that could be certified. So I don't know that we can rely on that if you're worried about this issue.
I don't think we're gonna get them to change their process, but I wonder if we just said something, again, trying to give you guys more discretion. If you say light fixtures that mimic the light source
So you,
below the shield. Have to be approved.
So going forward with a recommendation in theory at the end of this to council. Let's go back to, do we have mixed feelings right now and give them two sides, or are we all in consensus of what we want to do still?
I think that fixture. I would be in support of saying no to that fixture, but I think that there are a lot of gray area fixtures that we don't have pictures of in here. That would confuse this issue. Right now, it seems really clear. So that's where I think maybe just giving yourself some discretion to say, no, we don't like that light fixture. But I don't know how you would just blanket create language that would discourage that fixture without also discouraging other fixtures that we might not object to. So that I think it's tricky.
And we can provide that guidance to town council and come up with some idea of language and maybe run it by one or two of you individually before we go, because we have a couple weeks still till we need to get everything together for council.
it seems a little absurd that nobody ever sticks to their lighting. And what are the consequences when you go to get your CO if they're the wrong, not dark side certified or don't fit, or like, to me, it shouldn't be something they can change. Like, it has to be approved. And then, or administratively approved if they're gonna change it.
Yeah.
But like, to me, like, this is absurd that we can approve something, argue over the light fixture, and then they can change it before they get CO.
Well,
So can we make it a requirement that there's no light fixture changes after approval? Less coming back? Like, you see it a lot more in the real applicable world. Why are they changing?
Straight, because they find a deal. Contractor. And we're drawing buildings, half the time there's no contractor even involved yet by the time it comes through here.
But
And
it's
so
become such an important element now that we write dark side certified.
I think a change, just like a change to materials or a change to the site plan that has to get administratively approved. This is one of those things. I do think that they should have carte blanche to just make changes.
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure that the staff has the ability to administratively approve those changes. But they should have to submit a new light plan or at least a new light fixture cut sheet that gets approved. But my only point was it shouldn't trigger a 3-week
Yeah, agreed.
waiting period to come back
But
in
it
here. and
also
we're
doesn't
looking-
seem like if we're trying to be dark side certified, something so loosey goosey that they just change and we don't know till CO.
I think as long as it's a compliant fixture to another compliant fixture, it's not
Yeah.
the biggest of deals. Yes, agreed.
Usually that's what they're doing.
But then sometimes we see one of these and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, this is fancier. And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden we're in somewhere where we
Yeah.
think is a gray area. And where do we want our staff to go?
And
If
that's
they're
what I think-
administratively approved.
That's what happened.
Yeah, for clarity on this, like I know how I feel. Do you guys all feel that they should find a way to prohibit this? Just, and I won't be upset if you don't think it's worth it.
I agree with the intent. I just think the enforcement and decision making and writing the language is hard. And since we said we're gonna go with the minimums of dark sky and that's dark sky compliant, like my inclination would be to lean on the certifying body to certify the materials rather than Emma and staff. Yeah. I totally agree with your intent and I think there's like, maybe there's a time we can get there, but I think the first step is hard.
That picture, so you can see the light pattern behind it on the wall. It's going down as an umbrella. So that part is dark sky, but what you're trying to get at is dark eye. I'm serious. I mean, that is the distinction from dark sky to dark eye. You don't want to see the light.
Yeah, and that's the whole intent of these regulations.
I don't know that that's the intent. It's called dark sky. That's why when the towers came up and spoke about uplighting his stairway fixtures into a ceiling, I think that's dark sky compliant.
Sure.
I think if there's a ceiling, you're
Yeah.
inside.
Right, but I don't need to point.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about here is not dark sky, but because you look at the pattern of that light behind it on the wall, it's going down. But you could see it. So it's dark eye. It's not dark eye. And that is really,
But it's not light polluting. It's not affecting the migratory patterns of.
it's not.
I would argue it is light polluting. Like if you walk down Second and you're looking at the night sky and then you hit this house.
But it's not polluting the sky, I think is the distinction
Right.
that Eric's making. And we're talking about dark sky.
It's polluting our view of the night sky. And it, in those, I'll stop after this, but in those like things of not compliant, not compliant, not compliant, it's on the not.
It goes back to what Candace said. If that's rated dark sky compliant, it's a real slippery slope for us to say, we don't think so.
I'm just looking, look at this picture right here. Which one is this, Ira?
Oh, well, that one is more number three.
It's
than
number 3.
It's more number 3.
It's not compliant. There's a circumventing nuance of the way this.
Because on number 3, verses 1 and 2, light's going up. Number 3, there's no light going up.
But you can see the bowl in this shield.
So I think we can have a new definition called dark eye.
Just go review every light fixture and decide.
Like I think I agree with this and I'd like it to all be right. But if we're going minimum standards, I think then it's gonna be.
Well, it may be that the certification companies come up with a way to discourage this.
Right.
We're in this sort of infancy of these certifications and people are finding ways to get around it. They may realize that doesn't meet, but I agree, like we go with the certification, certified, but that's your point.
Gotta start somewhere. I feel like we have to start somewhere.
I don't know the certifications. I don't know and that's kind of what I'm concerned. Like I've worked as a planner, so I've seen somebody come in and say, oh, it says dark sky on the box. And I'm like, I don't know what that's not the real thing. And so I think that we're maybe talking about certifications that we're not positive about right now.
I really like a dark eye community.
I definitely like that. Cause it is true, like you're in your element and you're looking up at the stars and you walk by something and it like totally messes up.
And that's
Your vision is regulations. It's just clearly number 3.
I do think, I think that is better than where we were,
Yes.
right? I know it's
No,
not.
this is.
It's
This
better
is
than wanting to-
shielded.
Yeah.
The exact same as having a bulb and frosted glass. That is exactly what this is. And that's what we prohibit. I will rest my case.
Lena is not here. Should we move on to the next phase of our meeting and just have comments and closing?
I think.
Do we give you guys a recommendation?
I think if it works for you, what I'm hearing is that we can go to council and state there were some mixed opinions. This is an outline of the discussion. We can put it in the staff report and present it. It's really down to them, as we know. But at the same time, I think we have some of the language just proposed and at least maybe try to capture some of that in there and at least try that route. Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking, if that works for the commission.
So should that be like a condition of their?
I would make it a condition that staff relay the discussion on frosted glass light fixtures.
Thank you.
No, it's good. That's why Emma and I, in full disclosure, talked yesterday. We're like, we kind of hope they bring up a lot of things because it shows we're not just skipping things that no one paid attention to. And we'd rather have these discussions now than after it gets adopted and someone points something out that we didn't give enough attention to. So
I know this doesn't sit in Frisco and it doesn't matter, but the hospital, are they open to being like fixing some of their outside fixtures to be more compliant?
I don't know what the hospital, I did ask former ComDev director at the county, who said they weren't looking to change dark sky, but I don't know if that's changed or implement dark sky.
Because it would be really great as a
That's
community member
anyone on
to
this.
just have them be here, then we don't have the light of the beacon on the hill, which in our dark eye we can find when we're dying, but it's absurd. Like they could really tone it down
Yeah, I
and
think
it'd still
everyone-
be safe. And like it just seems silly when we just do all of this individually and then let them. And so I hope that maybe council or the town is reaching out to their people to say, hey, this is our plan. We'd love for you to be on board.
And that's true. We reached out to former staff at the county, not the actual business itself.
Yeah.
So.
That would be one thing I would like to recommend too, is that just some open dialogue with them. Encouraging.
Want to mention like the public comment that you made, like that building is noticeable from a lot of places. So thank you for trying to do your part and do what you can and pay attention, because I think that building is one that you can see from everywhere.
And I think there should be standards or like exceptions that like this stairwell wants to improve itself, make it better, be a good neighbor, but keep it safe. Like then allow that maybe not dark sky approved lighting of uplighting, but it has a roof. You know, if it has a roof and it's a stairwell and you can improve upon it, maybe we would allow something.
How do we feel about the 10-year compliance window?
I think we're following dark skies.
That's their recommendation?
That's their-
It happens immediately to all new projects, remodels, everything that's getting redone or is coming in new. But to go around and tell everybody in town that you have to replace all of your old light fixtures takes a little while.
That's all.
And again, I think that's exactly what Breckenridge did. They gave 10 years.
Do
And
you alert right when you get certification that like everybody?
I think, yeah, that's our plan, is to work with the communication staff to start notifying people now and be, friendly and educational at first.
Because
Just
it's
like,
also
you have 10
something
years.
kitschy enough that people bite onto it just because it's cool.
Mhm.
Not, it's cool and it's great and we all know that, but like some people are like, oh, that's cool. I'll just do it to be cool, So it's like the more we can put a campaign out there, I think the better.
Yeah.
But I think if we start to be like, let's do this in 5 and have minimum standards, then council's gonna go like, why are we rushing the timeline? I do wonder, like 10 years does seem so far out, right? And like, I feel like you have this like news peg of Breckenridge doing it and then we do it. And like, if you did, I'm not saying advocate for it, but like 5 years, I almost feel like you would have momentum. With 10, you're almost like, that's so far out, whatever.
I'll deal with it at 9.
Yeah. And you know, been here for 10 years. Yeah. So, and certain developments haven't been built yet,
Right here. So clear direction?
Okay with 10 years?
I am.
Just as a side note, and not to really, it sounds supportive of 10 years, which we could go, I don't have an opinion on that one. But we did hear from people that there were concerns when so many people were changing out at the same time in Breck about the sustainability and the amount of resources that were being thrown out that were functional. And so there is a little bit also of, it's better for the environment if we wait till you need to replace your light fixture instead of everybody massively taking and putting all of these light fixtures in the dump when they all work right now. So just a little side note, we did hear from some people about that opposite spectrum that we don't hear about much.
I have one more thought based on your public comment. I know we talked a lot last time about light trespass and took that off the table, which I still think is the right move. But I hear you that like when I moved into my house, my neighbor who was our friend at the time was like, by the way, I've removed your light bulb before you moved in because it's like really annoying to me. I think it's a thing that exists. So I kind of liked your suggestion of like a hotline. I don't know who manages this and how much resource we put to it, but like if there's a place where you can neighborly, obviously there's going and talking to people, but sometimes it's not your neighbor that you're talking to, it's their tenants or short-term rentals. There's a place to be like, hey, here's a light complaint for this address or something. There's maybe like a nice way of improving
And
that.
there are like rentals that will turn on their outside porch light and leave for 6 months. I mean, like, is there some kind of vacancy kind of code thing we could put in that be like, hey, if you are leaving your home, it can be motion center that comes on for security reasons, but if you like, there's a house that I've driven by and I'm like, I have not seen a single light on the inside on, but that porch light is just beaming out. And I'm like, come on, you're not here. It's on 36 hours a day. Like, I know we've talked about like vacancy taxes, like vacancy lighting and like the construction lighting, the chalets on Second turn on every single light and it's absurd. All night. And that should not be allowable.
I do think, and we've done this not a lot, and I wouldn't want like hundreds coming in, but we have outreach to HOAs when specific people have complained about, especially like a new townhome that got built and was leaving for extended weekends or whatever. And we do, at least in an attempt, if we find out about it and it's very small amounts, so we haven't been overburdened, we do reach out to that HOA to say, hey, can you please contact this owner and ask them? I know it doesn't solve
If
it.
we're trying to be compliant, maybe there is something that just says, if you are leaving your home for more than a 1 month period or 2 week period, like you are to comply with dark sky things, that your lights aren't left on for 24-hour periods, put on timers, whatever it may be. But there's just, we are a second home community still, and there's so many people that are just leave them on or their kitchen light on for 3 months and their curtains are open. It's just, I know it's a lot of enforcement, but do others want
Why
to?
you could brand this thing as Frisco's Dark and Friendly Skies initiative. Friendly Skies.
Skies and ice.
Guys,
Friendly to the birds, migration, so forth, so it's still clever breeding. Appreciate what.
Thank you.
thank you.
Dark skies and friendly eyes.
Yeah.
All
Dark
right.
skies for me from the eyes.
Is that an Eagle song?
Just to also remind you, Lena had mentioned, I don't think she was done talking about the lights, the cross area.
Right.
So I don't know if you want to have a final discussion on that, to provide direction to council.
I thought I read that they were putting shields on those lights. Is that an attachment or a bulb that comes with an integral shield?
We haven't gotten anything yet, but you can get just the shield and you have to unscrew the bulb.
Put it in first and then, yeah, I got it.
So that could be on the crossbar and it would make it legal.
No.
No, but I mean, I said
The
it
reason they
joking.
can keep the outside on it is because there's crosswalks and it's a
Right.
pedestrian.
So it is a four-way stop. I said it jokingly, but I really think we could paint a crosswalk that was an X. And then you're legal.
But I think you're right. I think if it's fully shielded, then it doesn't need the exemption
Right.
for festoon lights.
So you could keep the four sides exposed bulbs as pedestrian lighting and shield the cross. And you would still get that bright
I
pavement.
think as long as it stays in some form of it, it's a win.
Yeah.
You know, because it's a very dark
Sentiment that we like the cross.
And that
And we want to
station
show.
our time, just in general.
I thought I read that they're going to be shut off.
I think they are now. I asked Public Works about this. I think they go off at 2 a.m. or something.
Well, it's better than never go.
But don't you, Oh, I guess it's different, a fixture is different than a festoon, right? Like in terms of requirements, because I'm like festoon lights, even with the shield are the glass globe on a fixture.
Number 3, not
Yeah.
6.
Oh, gosh.
But it would be better, because then they wouldn't be going up.
No. And I also just feel like it's a show of good faith on the town's part to do something there, whether it's required by code or not. If we're gonna be requiring dark sky, we should change that up a little bit. And show that we've made it, shutting it off a little bit sooner, shielding the ones across the streets. I think whether we write it into the code or not, we should just do something there to show that we're making changes too.
I love the cross, but I also am like, I think it still has the cute, charming drawing in effect if it's just over the crosswalks. And that, like, I wouldn't be like heartbroken if the X went away. I'd prefer it, but I still think you get very generous light and very hospitable environment with this square.
It's a good point.
Do others feel the same?
Yeah, I think we need to maintain it in some way,
Yeah, I think
with
that,
or without the cross.
right, and I think they were doing something about it, because I was very embarrassed that the town was giving itself an exemption and gonna do nothing. So we've come further down the road of doing something, so that's.
I think it shows intent that, we're making exceptions or making the right moves forward as well as a town to remove some. Yeah.
You can take out every other ball.
You have it all down, I know that.
It looks cute and stuff, but I remember a long time before that was over there and it was just fine then too. And but I think you're right. It's kind of set a good example by.
Well, that's what I want to clarify. Can we go back to the net acre question one more time too?
We
do you
just
want
want
us
to make
to
sure
just-
we get conditions right before you get to the motion.
Should we just remove the net lumens per net acre and just have it be lumens per acre? Or are we concerned about allowing lumens for unlit portions of the property?
Yes, same.
We're talking about town lots.
Yeah.
We're not talking about a huge amount of rivers running through or backcountry. I think we can just say net acre and remove all that confusion.
Agreed.
Net lumens or?
Net acre.
So it'll be basically just remove net.
Yeah.
And it'll just be lumens per acre.
Okay.
And we'll remove the definition of net acre.
The last comment I was gonna make, and maybe this will be, so it starts out that there hasn't been any feedback yet to town about this. There's no comments on the agenda that went out. There's no comments on the 61-page document. My belief is because we haven't started to enforce it. So just because there's no comments yet, don't think they're not coming.
Okay.
Well,
9.
but I hope it's written out clear enough that enforcement or compliance is universally understood.
Do we want to address the gentleman's at the towers, his comments or concerns? Do we have staff have input on that?
I think the best thing to do in that situation, and I got more info, I talked to him a bit before the meeting started, is probably to send Nico and Emma out. And it doesn't have to be at night, but to kind of understand what he's proposing, because he sent pictures and we didn't really understand what they were wanted and we didn't respond it wasn't, I don't blame our staff. We didn't understand what was, we thought he just wanted to see what would comply. So he did request staff go out and talk to him and look at what he's talking about. And then I think we can trust Nico and Emma to see, like, pass that on to council. If they think there should be.
I think the town should be more than willing to do something for a large HOA like that is on board with it, excited about it. Yeah.
Right. There definitely needs to be something about maintaining life safety.
Yeah.
We can't start limiting light.
The birds are good, but you died.
Right. You're gonna fall down the stairs every
Yeah.
time you walk down.
And I think the up is, and shielded up is a great aesthetic option and safety option, and it will look better for the eye and.
I
Yeah,
think that what he's talking about is right here in this room.
yeah, yes, yes.
Look no further. There is not one downlight in this room. It's all reflecting up.
And there's a ceiling, so it's not really impacting.
So this is a dark sky room.
And I think that's sort of the intent of the canopy section. I don't know if anyone remembers that in particular, but if there's lights in a canopy or a roof like that. So I think we can look at that section for him and just make sure the light is coming down out of the canopy, even if it's uplit into the canopy.
And I think the more the town can find time to engage and the more we can market, the shorter our timeline becomes, April. That like, they'll probably have it done because a lot of our buildings are coming up on capital improvements right now too. So they're gonna just have to comply. And if we can encourage people to do it voluntarily, I think that's great.
Okay.
Any other comments?
Not there yet. We're gonna make a motion.
Yeah, I think, do we want to close this agenda item?
We need a vote.
No, we don't need to vote.
Public hearing.
Yeah, so we're gonna.
Yeah,
close it.
you vote.
Yeah, we're voting on.
Providing recommendation.
The
to
council.
town council, and then what we.
Oh, there is a motion.
Yeah, there's a
There
recommendation.
is, that's right.
The
Who wants to
I
read it?
can motion. Katie, I think, has helped us with our
Some
motion.
draft. So I think what I would have you add is what is drafted in front of you. Thank you, Kelsey.
Okay.
And then with the following modifications to what was presented on December 4th, 2025. We
At
have
the end.
At the end, and then we're gonna reference the net calculation requirements. We're gonna, council requesting that council consider the discussion held at the commission meeting regarding frosted glass should not be allowed by defining or like clarifying in some manner.
Okay.
So that's not really giving language, it just, we're making a motion and we request the council consider these topics. basically.
Okay. So with respect to planning file number UDC-25-0002, I move that the recommended findings set forth in the December 4th, 2025 staff report be made and that the planning commission recommends approval to the town council for code text amendments to chapter 180 of the Code of Ordinances of the town of Frisco, Colorado concerning the Unified Development Code by amending section 180-6.16 outdoor lighting, section 180-6.19 signs, section 180-8 nonconformities, and section 180-9.3 definitions concerning outdoor lighting with the additional findings found in the December 4th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting referencing net acres?
Yeah, lumens per net acre.
Lumens per net acre, and that the town council consider language prohibiting frosted glass on light fixtures.
That work for me, sure.
I'll second.
I think that last sentence is what we really were, was frosted glass below the shade.
Sorry, frosted glass below the light fixture shade. We would like town council to review and consider making prohibiting. I'll second that.
Can we take a vote?
Okay.
Conley,
Yes.
Day,
Yes.
Forsythe,
Yes.
Sevilla,
Yes.
Payne, Withrow.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone.
Any updates? Because we won't see you for a month or so.
Yes, thank you, Kim. I will note that the next two planning commission meetings will be canceled Thursday, December 18th and January 1st, 2026. So we will see you back here the second meeting in January.
Oh, We definitely have something for that meeting.
I don't know if we actually definitely have something for that meeting.
Possibly.
We're looking at potentially a special use permit for a cell tower. It's not complete yet, but when it is when it comes in complete, we have a 30-day requirement to get it to the planning commission. So that's probably the closest one we're working. It all depends on when they get us everything.
And also, I think a possible work session for landscaping code modifications.
Congratulations to the town for the new street lighting, that we finished on the extension on Highway 9
Looks
and
great.
all of Main Street. Solar powered lighting.
Yep.
And they're very much downlights.
It's good timing.
Good time.
And then I'll also share, if you're following along with Pioneer Park redesign, there's going to be some public engagement the week of December 15th. Information hasn't really gone out much yet, but there will be an open house in person here in Chambers on the 15th from 3 to 6 p.m. and then a virtual open house version on Thursday, December 18th from 5:30 to 6:30. So you can keep an eye
And
out.
I'm
for-
campaigning for basketball courts at Pioneer Park. It's just so. If anybody has input, that's my campaign for basketball courts. at Pioneer Park.
To the open houses, there is a couple of conceptual plans we'll be looking at. So.
I just dribble.
Yeah, there will be 4 conceptual
you're starting
plans
to-
for you to review and comment on and give us feedback. So
And Puts Rest is moving.
Like yesterday was the groundbreaking.
Anything on the housing structures?
I passed it on in a written email to council the day after you brought it up.
I mean, it doesn't even have a floor. Thing's gonna rot away.
Historic structures.
Yeah. Which are tied to the land. So what is the ramifications if they rot away? Do they shave off their variances? The building or what?
Should.
That's my concern, is that we offer historic overlay and a requirement to protect the historic structures. And
Trust
they
me,
didn't get
I've
bond
passed
for it or any.
numerous times.
I guess I should come to town council and start complaining there. All right.
And I think, Katie, you heard from Mary Elaine, the toy store, at the toy store. And she had concerns about sidewalk closures and the bus stop taking parking. So I just want to
Yes,
make
yeah,
sure.
and
that-
I'll just give a quick recap. So far, that's the only one who has voiced concern or wanted to know more information, which is great. The Foot sent a letter out that people received this past weekend to neighbors. And so it triggered, hey, the sidewalk will be closed. And so that obviously, especially this time of year, raises concerns to business owners who feel like people won't get to their property. The Foot's Rest is still utilizing Norris Design for communication and talking. So they actually had 2 of their employees meet with Mary Elaine. And then we sent Public Works Director and Capital Projects over to talk to her also. And I talked to her yesterday at the groundbreaking, and nothing's been solved, but she feels a lot better because she's had communication. She also is now has the business card of the contractor who will be in charge.
Cause
So
she is concerned about the historic
Yeah,
structures.
so, yeah, but at least we've had kind of multiple people dive in and try to help her out. So, yeah. I'm sure we'll hear a lot over the next 2 years.
Anything else?
Motion, you do. It's all you. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Hi. So, like, things we can do with that, like